I'm James. If you're watching this, this is probably going to be Dents and Dings if I stick with that name. I'm just going to do a lot of dumb stuff, some practical things, but mostly dumb stuff. Today's episode is somewhere between. It's for a dumb thing in the long run, but first thing for tonight, I just want to get a little engine running for a future project. Alright, so this is today's project. It's a little motorized bicycle I made. It's hardly a bicycle because you can't pedal it anymore. It's just got that engine, so I removed the pedals down there. I apologize for the lighting. It's terrible in here, I know. I'm just holding a flashlight next to the camera. So the issue I'm having is that the engine that's on there, the gaskets went bad on it, so I ordered a new set of gaskets and am planning to install them, and I just want to see if I can get this engine running again. I'm not planning to use it on here. Instead, I have another project where I'm actually planning to use it on this here, which is in front of the bike here. That's a Razor electric scooter. It was a Razor electric scooter, and well, I picked it up at a for spring cleanup, curbside, completely free. Didn't have the rear wheel. That's why there's a small bicycle tire on there. Didn't have a battery. Didn't have a motor. So, what do you do with that? Obviously, you just throw a gas engine on it. So, that's the plan in the end. But first, I just want to get this engine running right so I can figure out how to mount it onto the scooter. I figured it'll just be easier to get it running on there because it's all set up for it. So my first course of action will be to remove this engine. As you can see, I designed this expertly. 2 Phillips screws on the top with nuts behind them, presumably, and I believe there's another one down there on that bracket. Sorry, I can't focus. This camera doesn't have autofocus, and I'm holding a flashlight in my other hand. So yeah, that'll be the main steps that I do here. The chain's already detached, and I believe those 3 points are the only points holding it in. Make sure the carburetor is disconnected from the fuel, also get the throttle cable out. I just want to completely remove the engine so it's easier to work on. now I'm over here where I actually have some light to work with. The limited space means the camera's a bit too close, but this will have to do. So you have the engine up here on the table. Here's the set of gaskets I bought for it. They're probably not alright. They're probably not right at all, actually, but I'm still going to go ahead and try to make them work. This video is basically a waste of time if they don't, so let's just get cracking at it. I'll use the annoying little multi-tool thing here. First I just want to remove this housing. I think I could remove the whole mechanism here if I just remove this one, this one, this one. I really ought to get my set of Allen keys up here because this is annoying. That's one. That's two. It's a little small, but it'll work. And that's three. Now I just got to take them all out. I went ahead and tightened that ground again. I didn't think I'll need to remove it, but here we are. Alright, yep, that just comes off like that, like so. Three little bolts holding it in. A bit webby in here, but it works. So there is compression, but I'm pretty sure it still sort of leaks. Yeah, because it wants to go that way. I'll take off my fingers if I keep doing that. So, June bugs are out. So this I gotta take off. The spark plug is what I pointed at. That's too small. This is probably too big, and it won't fit anyways because there's a very limited space. So I guess I'll use a wrench, or a croissant wrench. There we go. You grab a bigger croissant wrench. You should really spray it down with WD-40 or something, but I don't have any here. Ugh. Hey, that moved. It's free now. The plug didn't break. And it's actually fairly clean. It's got a bit of an extra gap to it, I think, but that should be fine. It is a two-stroke. Because the throttle is out, of course, the little hole where the throttle goes in is open. So I should find something to plug it with. Thankfully, I have a lot of crap around here, so I'll just take this rag. We'll make a little Molotov cocktail carburetor. That'll at least keep junk from going into it, and if I accidentally use my lighter, it'll go off, and something will happen. I should probably take the carburetor off, I think, because I gotta take the head off, and I think there's another gasket to go on the carburetor body, so Yeah, we'll take the carburetor off next. Need one of my Phillips screwdrivers. I still don't know where the other one went. There's another Phillips there. That's okay, I suppose. There, and that's off. This, of course, is also held in by Phillips. This is just a little plastic adapter for it. Then the carburetor is held on by a couple Allen bolts that go all the way through to the block. I don't know if you'd call it a block, it's a two-stroke, but anyways, it goes into the actual engine. I'm hoping it's the same size as that key I found. If I can find it again, which I probably won't. Well, darn. I do want to find it because it'll be really useful when I put it back together. Okay then. Okay. Be that way. I'll just do this. It is the same size though. Of course it is. And I had to go and lose it already. I'll also make it known here, I am definitely not qualified for any of this. I am a history major going for history education. I actually just finished what will hopefully be the last paper I need to write. Yep, there's the carburetor gasket. It looks okay for now. Alright. Well, there's the carburetor. We'll set it aside. Put the rag over there just in case anything on top of it. We're probably okay on the underside. Choke is on, you know? And it's a real choke. It actually chokes off the air instead of just blocking fuel or adding extra fuel like a lot of other carburetors tend to do. So it's not really a choke, but this one's a real one. I don't think... it does look similar. I guess we'll get in there and replace that gasket under this there. I don't know if you can see it. I did look in the lens. It looked pretty clear from this distance, but again, without autofocus, it's kind of annoying. But it's also kind of nice, just because you get to set it where you need it. I did turn up the auto... I'm even worse with cameras than I am with engines. Anyways, the auto brightness thingamabobber, so it'll adapt to it for me. I don't need to do as much with it. I don't need to babysit it, which is nice, but I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't usually either, but I gotta deal with it. Lighting in here is terrible, which I guess is more of an excuse to use it rather than not, but I'm doing this all by myself. Don't worry, we're almost there. I think. Alright, there is that gasket. It looks fine and dandy, just like I expected. Don't quite know what that's about, but Just spray some carb cleaner on it. There, good as new. Alright, now we'll get to the first gasket of the box. Oh, I tore a gasket. That's nice. Yeah, these are definitely quality products. Hopefully I didn't need that one. It doesn't look too important. It's just the biggest one in there. I need a rag. That one's blocking the carburetor. Let's grab a different one. So here I've got I can see the bottom of the piston, the the spinning part. So I want this gasket on there. And what do you know? The size is just slightly off. Who would have thunk? But unless it's supposed to go this way. No, it's definitely not right. Alright, I've tried it in just about every orientation, and it's the wrong size. I do have the original in case I can't get it to work right, but I think we should be okay with it. Don't lose it. Let's see. I needed the I am losing everything. It's right there. Okay. We blew that off, and now the gasket fell off. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're slowly but surely. Does anyone remember what orientation this was? I'm guessing like this, because that's the way the engine would sit normally for the carburetor to be level. Yes, because this would be the top here, and the carburetor would sit more directly level to it, rather than upwards, which wouldn't make much sense, at least not in my mind. Hopefully it's in everyone else's minds too. They're good and tight. Well, not too tight. I don't want to make them too tight, in case that's too tight and breaks it. Now we got the carburetor to deal with. I didn't do the drain thing, so it's probably all leaking into my Molotov rag. That is fine. And yes, we have a new carburetor gasket, so we'll go ahead and replace that too. Try not to tear it. That one came out a bit easier. These are thicker than I expected. I'm a little surprised. This would be in this orientation because the exhaust is down. Yeah, that seems right. And there, I have my little silver Allen key again. Ow. I don't know if there's too many videos like this with this type of engine. I don't know if anyone actually bothers to repair them, but obviously I found these gaskets out there, and there were quite a few options, so it's probably something somewhat common. I didn't double check to make sure there was a video on it or not already. I didn't watch any videos, of course. This is just me doing it as I would. Yes, and then I'll put on this little adapter thing. I'll wipe it off first. It got a bit dirty. I don't know if it was from sitting here or if it was from sitting on here. I believe that's the correct orientation. I think you want the choke to be direct through. Screw that in. So hopefully there will be more exciting episodes eventually, especially once we get this mounted onto the scooter. That'll be fun. But this is what I'm doing for now, at least. Just trying to get it to work. Let's see. Choke on, choke off, choke on, off, on, off. On is up. I'm going to forget that, of course, but on is up. As you can see, there's a weld in here. That's because I cut through it and bent it a bit. I had it on a different bike before, and it was kind of in the way, just going direct like that, and hit the frame. So, adjustments. I probably could have just heated it and bented it, but I think I tried that. It didn't work too well. So, there's where I am. Next, I'll do the actual head gasket, or the cylinder, the main one on the cylinder. Yeah, I'll take this off first. I got a new exhaust gasket. I don't think I ever had the proper exhaust gasket on here, actually. I want to say 10 mil, but I'm probably wrong. Well, we'll say 10 for now, and I'll cut it out if it's not. Maybe it's an 8. Yeah, it's a 10 mil. Slightly smaller than a 10 mil, but it's definitely not a 9 mil. I don't think it is the imperial equivalent. This should all be metric. I think my 10 mil is just poor, or these little nuts they have on here are poor. Again, it would be great with a ratchet wrench, but I'm missing a bunch of my tools for the moment, so this is what I'm doing. Okay, that one, the entire, that's fine. The entire stud was spinning with that one, but I mean, as long as it comes out, it's fine. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. I just gotta make sure I don't strip out the threads inside the aluminum head. Good. It did come loose enough to spin. That one's probably not going to if it's spinning in the aluminum. Nope. There we go. On the bright side, this gets used like a bolt. On the bad side, it's likely to strip the aluminum. Don't lose those washers. Keep an eye on them for me. You can't see them from there. Alright. So I just had a little homemade gasket on there, which I never got around to replacing, but it actually held up really well. It's like a, well, it's a high heat tolerance thing, of course, because it's on the exhaust. It's actually crumbling as I try to pull it off, which is probably a good sign, except it's difficult to come off. Tell you what, I got some Windex, which I think is corrosive, but I'll throw it on there and we'll see if that helps. Probably not. Probably just made the whole thing worse, and it's great value actually, not Windex. Alright, so you missed it, but I lost you for a couple seconds there. Battery died. We're keeping the dead ones in the right pocket, the fresh ones in the left now. I let it sit for a little bit. We'll see if that little Windex thing worked. I doubt it will. It still seems to be just about as solid as it was before. This stuff is like a rock, which is kind of bad news for us. For me. I had to slightly modify this to work. I have an extra exhaust, but I'd rather not modify that one. Eesh, watch out for my knuckle there. Alright, let's try some carb cleaner. Again, I doubt that'll do anything. But, anyways, that's basically sorted now. I just need to get this off and get that replaced. This one will be difficult to use with that tool. I hope I have a longer one. So yeah, I have the set of Allen keys here. I had them, but didn't want to bring them out because I was a bit lazy. They were out in my car. Gotta figure out what size it is. 5 mil. Alright. Break them free, if I can get it in there. There we go. There's one. There's two. It should be 4. There's 3. And there's 4. Alright, now we just gotta get them out. Which I don't think this has the clearance to... Oh, just barely. That's the 4 out. Now, if we could just sort of break it free. Oh, there it went. Alright, that is pretty clean in there. Piston has some charring, but I think that's my own fault for trying to push it so hard without a proper gasket on there. Yep, we'll just need some carb cleaner on there. Yeah, that's perfect. And that should dry quickly. Let me take a quick look at this again. Maybe I should have just left this gasket on there. It seemed to be working fine. But I don't know, it's been a few years since I had this thing running. Big issue with the thing was it actually had water sitting in it. So it should run. It wasn't seized at all, but water in the engine isn't great. I took it apart and ended up breaking that gasket. I think it got a bit wet. Try a flat blade screwdriver on it. Found one. Alright, so I actually have some extra cleaning up to do. Yeah, so this was a homemade gasket I made, and it's kind of glued down with some red high heat silicone. Well, it came off pretty easily, but the red stuff I'm definitely going to have to scrape off when I replace that gasket. I think the original one was actually half aluminum, but I don't think this replacement is. I think it's just paper. Alright, well, I'll try to get that pulled off. I think this red silicone was supposed to be usable near the engine, but I don't quite remember. Just get it all cleared off, just in case it makes a mess out of it. Would be nice if I had an overhead camera so you could see this better. But, yeah. There's just red stuff on there. And some of that old gasket I made, it must have been leaking there for it to sort of do that. There we go. So I knew it wasn't a perfect seal. I was just hoping it would be at the time. I didn't want to go through the trouble of ordering a set. We're gonna call that good. Grab the gasket for it. Try to pull the rest of it off, just to make it easier. There we go. Got this. This was another replacement gasket. I have no idea what it's for. We're just going to pretend we didn't see it. Alright, so this goes on there, which looks right. I was a bit worried, but it looks like it'll work. Alright, so that's what we have. We'll clean up that a little bit first. Try not to drop anything in there. We're being really careful about it. Alright, good enough. Now, if we remember right, this side should be down because of the way it is. Because of the exhaust coming out of there. If I can get this right, are those in position? Yes. I just got to get them. Good thing is this has a little lip that gets those little piston rings in, pushes them into position. I just gotta guide it, and I think we're on. Right. Get that in place. Alright. Now, to get those screws, bolt things back in. I'll just get those a little tight. They should be tight because it's the engine. This is where all the bang bangs happen. Alright, I'll set that down. And check for compression. I think we've got it. Yep, there's actual compression there. I think we're in luck. It seems to be working. Let me take that spark plug and clean it a little bit. I didn't get around to that. This is, of course, a JDS spark plug, L7T. You know, my favorite brand of spark plugs. I think it came with the engine. Throw that in. And we'll, of course, you know, torque it down to spec. Oh, that sounds good. Now there are other gaskets, but the only one I'm really worried about is the exhaust gasket, because I got a chunk of the old stuff here. I just want to get that off. Hey, there, that's a lot better. Just try to clean it up a little bit more. Alright, so the camera took a little bit of a trip there, but while I was fixing it, I'm pretty sure this gasket is just paper with a little coating on it, so we're gonna hope it's okay. As I was saying, this isn't quite perfection, but it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to, you know, at least sort of work. Sort of working is pretty much working. There's a spring there. It's not supposed to be there. Alright. That goes on there. I don't think it's directional. It's just there. And this goes there. Obviously this isn't the right, well, maybe not obviously, but this is not the correct exhaust for this motor. But I didn't get one when I got the motor, so I used what I had. This is what I had. This is from a two-stroke bicycle engine kit, and this motor was meant for a go-kart or a pit bike. So yeah, of course I just used that. I also used the I used the same chain sprocket on both, so technically it's cross-compatible that way. The sprockets were different, so I actually had to weld the original sprocket from the bad bicycle engine to the sprocket of this engine. I just ground down the teeth a bit and used what was left of the sprocket as a welding point. And there was just enough space between the original sprocket and this little casing here that I could still just put that sprocket behind it. So it's it's between there, but it works. It works out. It's actually distant just about perfectly. So there's that. Looks like we're still going. So yeah, I gotta tighten these down with that 10 mil I had. We'll do that now. Should have been doing that now. Oh yeah, but this is what I was talking about, everything being included. There's the ignition coil here, and of course the magnet goes around this wheel, right. That generates the power for the spark. Alright, we'll pull that out. I think we're clean. The carburetor seemed to be working fine when I took a look at it. Look, there's even some overflow juice coming out of there from tipping it over and whatnot. But I think we're looking good. I'm gonna go install this in the engine, or in the bike, and see if it works. Alright, so now I got the engine back in place. Everything but this holding it down. Everything is hooked up: throttle, fuel, ground, kill switch, everything. Everything should be good. The fuel is, of course, 2 years old, which should be fine, I'm sure. Let's see if we can fire this up. Chain is disconnected, so it doesn't run off on me. This has a centrifugal clutch, so it shouldn't, but, you know, just in case. It'll probably be pretty loud when it does. Choke is on, I believe. Here we go. Now this actually has two fuel valves, one at the top and one at the bottom. Let's see if we ever get fuel to it. Yeah, there's fuel moving through there. Well, this says it's on. Well, I know there's compression. I don't know if there's spark. Let's check for that. Alright, so I pulled the spark plug off. I'm just gonna pull it a few times to see if we get anything. Hopefully we don't need that. Alright, that aside. Oh, there's definitely spark. I felt it in my little knuckle there. I wore a glove, don't worry, but I still felt it. It jumped through, you know, like it's supposed to. So we got that. Just tighten it up more. So we know we've got spark. We know we've got compression. Fuel is a whole nother story. Well, it could be fuel. Oh, let me try this. There we go. Nope. Gonna use some of this 2-cycle oil, because this is a 2-stroke engine. There's no separate oil reservoir for it. That'll be fine. I don't want to use too much in case it doesn't work. Let's just get this screwed on. shake. There. And that's some good mixing. Let me just pull this off, make sure we got flow. Alright. Aha! Well, hey, that's good enough for me. Good thing there's a big hole in the roof of my tent, so this will clear out. But hey, success. Whew. Rosie, my dog's here. Okay, let's try it one more time just to be sure it wasn't just a fluke. It probably was. So. It looks like it's leaking around the exhaust header. Well, I can get that figured out some other time. It runs. It runs. And, well, that's what I need. Yeah. I didn't check. It should be spinning. I hope it's spinning. Let's do another check. Boy, it would be nice to have some more ventilation in here. We got some spinach. Doesn't like to run, but that could just be the old fuel talking. We'll call that a success for tonight. And, well, it's the scooter next. Oh, I figured I should take you in and look at some of these little fun parts about this engine here. I mentioned the other day this sprocket here. If I can get it to focus, there we go. Yeah, that's not how it comes. It comes with that the one in front, and I welded that to the other one behind it, and that's what drives my chain. I'd say it's safe. Every tooth is welded onto it. Looks like they're complete. Most of them, and yeah, so that's good. Of course, we rebuilt this. We changed the gasket right there, gasket there, two of them here on the carburetor actually, and a gasket on the exhaust. This is still hot, so I'm not going to touch it. One thing I noticed is that we are getting right where there's that weld patch that I put on there, the blob. It's leaking there, exhaust leak, so figure out something for that. And it's also got quite a bit of blow-by. That's a two-stroke for you, but if we clean that up, that might help a bit. Good, good.